So today I'm going to talk to you about what to do when your get up and go has got up and gone. Now, before we start, I just want you to pop in the chat box. What, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your energy right now? Now, 10 is where you jumped out of bed this morning and you were just so excited because it was networking in, and you were so full of energy that you went for a 5-mile run before we even started this morning. And 1 is that you rolled out of bed at 7:25, you're secretly wearing your pajama bottoms, you've got matchsticks holding open your eyes, and you're hoping to have a nap after we've done. And I've just gone, let's go back. So just stick in the chat box where you think you are. So we've got some 6s, some 7s, some 8s. We've got a 5, we've got a 4, we've got a couple of 4s. Right, well, let's see if we can do something about those 4s and 5s. Now, just a little, it's all going wrong. Just a little bit about me. So I don't know about you, but I have found the last couple of years really tough, actually. Firstly, we have been in this low-lying global stress situation called a pandemic. And that has a huge impact on our energy levels. On top of that, for me, I've had quite a significant number of people that I love die over in a short space of time, which is a massive emotional stress. I then, as seen in the picture, decided to do a crazy thing and walked 100 kilometers in 2 days to raise money for charity, which is a massive physical stress. And then I moved house, which is just a whole heap of stress. And all of these stresses can help to affect our energy levels. And I know that I'm not alone in this. I know quite a lot of people are having really tough times. But I'm really lucky because I understand the impact that all of this has on my energy levels. And being a herbalist, I've got 200 plus herbs in my dispensary. So I can just grab a few, make up a little concoction, and it will help keep me going. But also because I'm a health coach, I know that I need to make lifestyle changes in order to really deeply look after myself and to keep my energy levels up. So what do you do if you don't have a dispensary? I'm just going to give you some few ideas. I've stuck way too much in this talk, I know. So just take what you can from it and we will focus on one thing. So the other slide that popped up, and I'm not going to go into it because there are people in this room who are far more expert in this area than me, is exercise. Now, it may be counterintuitive to exercise when you're tired, but actually research suggests that if you regularly exercise, you can increase your energy levels. So if you don't have a regular exercise routine, then, there's a great person in the room to go and talk to, Sarah, and she will help you get a great exercise routine going. Now, the other thing I always talk about is food. Now, I know it's really, really boring to talk about food, but actually it's so important when it comes to our energy levels, and it's one of the easiest ways to boost it. I don't have time to go into the different nutrients and that really can affect energy levels, but just a couple of things. When you have low energy levels, it's better to eat a little often. This calms your brain and it helps to reduce the perception of fatigue, but it also gives you a steady supply of nutrients. So if you start to notice that you feel a bit sluggish after a few hours without food, then eat more frequently. And it doesn't take a lot in order to feed the brain. Just a piece of fruit or a few nuts is actually adequate. And if an afternoon slump is your thing, then actually have a smaller lunch and have a snack later on. The other really important thing is actually to stay hydrated. If your body's short of fluids, then actually one of the first signs is feelings of fatigue. So make sure you're drinking plenty. Of course, I've got to get some herbs in somewhere, and I just want to talk about a lovely group of herbs called adaptogens. These are some of my favourite herbs, and they're called adaptogens because they help the body adapt to stress. And they work on something called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And there's quite a lot of herbs in it, from ginseng, which is the photograph of some ginseng roots, which is a very highly stimulating. It's probably one of the most stimulating herbs. So you should only really use it for a short period of time. Something called eleutherococcus, which is also known as Siberian ginseng, which is still stimulating, but more gentle on the body. And actually, there's lots of research on Russian athletes to show how it increases physical performance. To a lot really gentle herbs, such as ashwagandha, which is a brilliant herb for convalescence and sleep. So it works in a slightly different way. Now, that was a very, very quick run through. So I just want to focus on just one thing, which is about work and how to increase your energy levels whilst you're working. Now, would you say that you're a night owl or a morning lark? So are you more productive when you get up, or do you prefer staying up late and working when everybody else has gone to bed? Just have a think about it. Feel free to shout out or put something in the chat box if you want to. Now, it's not quite as simple as just being a night owl or a morning lark, but our energy levels do vary throughout the day. And how they vary depends on our chronotype. Now, what's a chronotype? I'm sure you've all heard of the circadian rhythm. So this is your brain's sleep-wake cycle, and it determines when you're alert and when you're sleepy over a 24-hour period. If you like, it's the internal clock that your brain uses to release certain hormones throughout the day. But researchers have found that everyone's circadian rhythm is slightly different. Now, one of my closest friends at school was never in school on time. She was always late. She got into so much trouble because she just could not get into school for 9 o'clock. It was just impossible. 11 o'clock in the morning, she'd rock up. And it turns out that actually she was just on a completely different circadian rhythm to everybody else. And she became a nurse and did lots of night shifts, and now she's fine. Me, on the other hand, love getting up early in the morning, and I'm go, go, go first thing. And we call these different differences chronotypes. And there's a great researcher called Michael Bruce, who's a sleep researcher, and he came up with a theory that people can be put roughly into 4 categories. So I want you to note these carefully and think about which category you might fall into. The first one is the bear. Now, most people are bears. They get up with the sun, they don't have any difficulty sleeping, their peak of activity is mid-morning, and they have a slump mid-afternoon. So bears have quite a steady energy and they get things done. And provided they don't push past that mid-afternoon recharge period, they can maintain productivity all day long. Lions, on the other hand, whilst they wake up early, they have their most productive hours before lunch. So they have really action-packed mornings, but then they tend to fizzle out in the evening and need to go to bed early. Wolves are at the nocturnal end of the spectrum. So they like to get a later start during the day, and they're actually really productive when the rest of the world is winding down to go to bed. Interestingly, wolves have 2 peak periods. So they have a period between midday and 2 p.m. And then again, sort of at 5, 6 o'clock and later into the evening when the rest of the world's gone to bed. Dolphins, on the other hand, may or may not have a regular sleep routine. They're really, really light sleepers, and they frequently wake up throughout the night and often don't get enough sleep. Because they struggle to fall asleep, they do their best work sort of between mid-morning and through to early afternoon when they're starting to feel a bit more refreshed. So which are you? Now, when I talk about productivity, what I'm talking about is analytical tasks. So if you think about your work, you can divide this between analytical tasks and more creative tasks. And actually, we are our most creative outside of our peak time. So think about, where's your peak time for analytical tasks, and where are you best being creative? So we've got we've got lots of lions. I guess that's why we're all at networking. We've got an owl. Any others? you want to pop in the chat box? Lots and lots of lions. We've got a dolphin or a wolf. We've got a bear. Some bear lions. Excellent. So we're going to come back to this during the question. Now, I just want to end by saying it's really important, if you have an issue with long-term fatigue or tiredness, to really consider if there's something else going on. Now, it could be as simple as you're not getting enough sleep, but fatigue can be, or lack of energy can be, a significant issue, and it can be a symptom of many chronic medical conditions. And these can range from very simple ones through to more serious ones. So things such as underactive thyroid, kidney issues, right through to post-viral fatigue, or these days long COVID. And all of these are treatable. So I was just saying in the group that this morning I thought, actually, what people don't seem to realize is that as a medical herbalist, we are qualified to give primary diagnosis. So if you are having an issue with any health conditions, then just get in touch. I'd be more than happy to talk through whatever's going on and to see if we can find out, and work with your GP as well. Finally, I'm just going to do a little bit of a salesy bit. So I am just in the process of launching a wonderful program. I've just had some alpha testers who've been doing the program. It's a 5-week bite-sized wellness and resilience program, and it's a mix of video learning and group coaching sessions. And the idea of the program is that you can build new habits, you can manage your time and energy, you can learn lots about how to understand your own well-being, and how you can overcome the mental blocks that are stopping you from prioritizing your health. I've had some really, really amazing feedback. I've been so touched. I almost cried with some of the amazing feedback that I've had. And I'm now going to do a beta test. So I'm still in the testing phase. I really want to test out the technology that I'm using to make sure it's working properly. And I'm offering it a really significant reduced rate. And I'm offering it at an even more reduced rate for people who come along to networking in. So it's on at £250, but if you use the code networking buddies and you're interested in it, then you'll get it at £200, which works out about £40 per coaching session, plus lots and lots of online learning. So yeah, that's my very, very brief whistle-stop tour through energy. If you want to ask any questions about it, I'll hang around at the end for a bit. And I also have a question. So do you want me to stick up the question?